We chose Sustainable Development Goal 15, Life on Land.
This means all things living on Earth,
the problems associated with these living things,
and our environment.
So, why do we care? My name is Rin, and I care because I believe it is our responsibility as humans to care and to work toward a more sustainable future.
I'm Mozzie, and I care because I think we have all the solutions laid out for us. We just need to be informed.
I am Michelle, and I care because I want to enjoy nature in the future. I also think that we as a community should start taking care more of our environment.
I'm Cadence, and I care because I really enjoy being out in nature, and I hope to live in a healthy and thriving world to pursue my passions and share with all the people I love.
For our location, we chose to focus on where we live, which is northern Colorado. It's a myth that Colorado's ecosystems are healthy and functioning. We are able to see that in our everyday lives because we live here.
We used the design thinking process to help us structure and execute the project efficiently. The design thinking process is iterative and moves through 5 phases: empathy, define, ideate, prototype, and test.
Before beginning the empathy phase, each team member took one of the 5 SDGs and completed some basic research. We each presented our research, then voted. The majority vote went to Goal 15, Life on Land. After some discussion and deeper research on Goal 15's focus, issues, and current progress, we confirmed that that was the goal we were going to focus on for the project.
Then we dove into the empathy phase, which includes gathering information and doing research, interviewing people in the field of ecology, Generation Z, people born from 1997 to 2011, our family members, and our schoolmates and coworkers. We gathered some key information from them and key quotes and presented our findings to one another. From that, we chose to focus on biodiversity, the abundance and distribution of a certain species.
Part of the empathy stage is also developing personas. Personas are essentially creating a character that represents a stakeholder in order to better empathize and understand the end user's needs, wants, and goals. We each made a persona for a certain stakeholder. We gave them characteristics like age, race, and so on, wants and needs, drivers or motivators, and pain points like things they're afraid of. We used these things throughout the process.
We dove onto the define stage next, which is the second step in the design thinking process. We used the personas to define our problem by creating insights and how might we questions. Our ultimate how might we question was, how might we make relevant, accessible, and inclusive solutions to promote a curious, open-minded, and willing mindset?
Next was the ideating stage. We started by separating our sticky notes into groups of education, biodiversity, sustainability, and solutions that all had our knowledge on these topics. We used ideating techniques like Scamper to brainstorm and push our thinking further. Since we had decided upon biodiversity, we needed to find a specific species that was struggling in northern Colorado. After careful research, the process of elimination, and listening to presentations, we settled on wolves. Gray wolves are endangered, especially in Colorado.
Afterwards, we went on to our 4th stage of the design thinking process, prototyping. This is where we come up with our solutions. We drew and wrote them down and then presented them to our teachers to get feedback. Our last stage is testing, which is presenting to our clients, which happens to be World Denver. There is a decline in biodiversity because of pesticides like neonicotinoids that affect pollinators and plants. Pollinators in native plants are important to biodiversity because they provide a wider range of habitats, and with more plants, there are more pollinators. It is cyclical. According to a UN report, 40% of pollinators face extinction. This decline is caused by agriculture, urban development, and climate change. Keystone species are a vital part of biodiversity and maintaining the health of an ecosystem.
In northern Colorado, an important keystone species being reintroduced is the gray wolf. Other keystone species are that of the grizzly bear, black-footed ferret, and bison, which were all extirpated. There is a lack of abundance and distribution of these species, and it is important, according to ecologist Delia Malone, quote, to debunk the myth that all is well in Colorado, end quote. One of the reasons we struggle to make progress towards helping these species is because there's a tension between the political view, the scientific community, and humanitarian views. Of the recent issues we face in northern Colorado, there's one dealing with the tension and difficulty of coexistence between predators and livestock.
Collectively, we do care about the earth, and it is something we can all find an area of passion within. For some of us, it's our values and the fact that we want to see change around us. For others, it's taking responsibility for the damage the generation before us have done. We want to ensure a healthy, surviving, and thriving environment for future generations.
Regarding biodiversity in northern Colorado, this is our local environment and community. This is where our roots lie, and where we believe we can help most efficiently. We strive to be model citizens and spark change in the hopes that our message will grow across communities, thus building the capacity and compassion of others to take action. We see restoring biodiversity as one of the key components to mending the effects of climate change. We are the sculptors for the world we want to see. No matter how big or small the dent we make, it's a step toward a more sustainable planet.
This is a wolf.
That's Mr. Wolf to you.
Sorry, Mr. Wolf. Wolves sit on the top of the food chain as top predators. They're closely related to coyotes, dogs, and foxes.
Oh, yeah. I remember when I used to live near foxes. Had to move, though. Agricultural expansion.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, Mr. Wolf. What other problems do you face?
Lots of issues with these oddly furred, smelly creatures that walked upright on their back legs. They live in strange dens and near these loud, big creatures that let out smelly air. Their paws look like big black circles. Can you believe it? They expand their territory. They kill us larger predators, and they make the world too warm.
And you eat birds, other small animals, and hunt in packs for larger prey like deer, correct?
I do. But shall we continue? Let's talk about my home.
Right. Let's zoom into northern Colorado. Wolves have been present in Colorado for over 80 years, the first being spotted in Moffat County, Colorado. Today, there are estimated to be 6 to 8 adult wolves with at least one breeding pair with 3 pups seen in June. Wolves, as a species, play a key role in keeping ecosystems healthy and functioning. They keep the populations of deer and elk in check, which in turn benefits many other species of plants and animals, especially scavengers like grizzly bears. Despite how beneficial and necessary they are for the ecosystem, the media portrays wolves as evil.
That's absurd. We don't bite unless you bother us first.
Because wolves hunt in packs. They could seemingly outsmart and take down a person that was traveling alone. Whether warranted or not, wolves were thus labeled as a danger to humans. When media like books or movies are constantly focusing on how much damage wolves can do or how scary and evil they are, people feel the need to fear them. Once this fear turns into the need to protect oneself, their family, or their property, people will go out of their way to cause deliberate harm to wolves. This in turn harms the community.
That is no good.
Helping and healing the community and thus slowly the ecosystems means first educating people on the facts, not the fear. So what can we do to help?
Our team recommends helping to solve climate change and diminished biodiversity through education. Through our research, we have discovered there is a lot of misinformation and myths, so it is important that science leads the way. Specifically, in northern Colorado, many believe all is well with our ecosystems, when in fact our ecosystems are not healthy and functioning.
According to ecologist Delia Malone, quote, "There's a lot missing," end quote, meaning many species of plants and animals do not exist in their natural abundance and distribution like they should. And to narrow our focus, we decided to look specifically at wolves, a keystone carnivore important to a thriving ecosystem.
Our team is hoping to inform people in an interactive, relevant, and engaging way to create sustainable action. We are hoping to target school-aged people, ages 5 to 18, because they are the next in line to make change, and we are hoping the idea of being a change maker can become part of their growing identities.
To do this, our solution trajectory includes beginning by making a personal connection, followed by learning through story, and ending with being a part of the solution. We hope to accomplish this through the following unique, creative, and relevant ways.
The Personal app is an application anyone can download and use to build self-awareness and a personal connection in a tactile way.
Social media campaign, a way to spread information on a large platform through trends.
The puppet show and video animation is a way to learn through entertainment that is performance-based.
Interactive journal, a takeaway material that is experiential, fun, and shareable.
Specific, in the spring, we would conduct puppet shows at our iLead events at our local elementary schools where students would learn through entertainment. As a takeaway gift, students would receive the interactive journal, which would include a QR code to the Personal app. Our social media campaign would show and share our process and products to build awareness around wolves and biodiversity.
Measurable. We would track shares and interactions on our social media platforms. We'd also gather feedback during and after each puppet show to gauge learning. We would ask for teacher feedback on the interactive journals, as well as make a QR code to include in the journal that links to a feedback form. Finally, we could track downloads of the Personal app.
Attainable. We believe our solution is attainable and sustainable. Our target audience is schools, and since we are a program within our district, we have access to all schools and have a plan through our iLead program to bring the puppet show to the school. We have collaborators that are accessible and willing to help us in such areas as designing and building the app, building the puppet stage, and designing and printing the interactive journal.
Realistic. It's education-based and appropriate for the target audience. Our district loves our iLead program, so it's a perfect fit that aligns with the established plan. Most people use social media daily, so our idea to build and post on various platforms is both easy and realistic. The collaborators we will lean on to build the app have experience, and again, most community members have devices and will be able to access our app easily.
Now let's talk about time-bound. We are planning to incorporate our solutions in our iLead event over the spring and summer. We are meeting with some of our pathways to help us get our solutions finished successfully.
My proposed solution is a social media campaign. We hope to share posts on multiple platforms like Instagram and TikTok. Posts will feature reputable facts about wolves and biodiversity. I plan to have account takeovers by professionals to teach more about the topic for anyone who wants to learn more about it. We will engage our viewers by sharing content that is relatable and relevant to current trends and people's lives. We will track the progress of this solution through likes, views, and followers.
My proposed solution is an alternative journal where people can learn more about themselves and climate change. It is meant to be fun and memorable.
My proposed solution is a how to make a personal connection app and book. The first step in solving our climate crisis is making a connection or a why you care. If you don't care, you don't do anything. People forget that we all can make change and that it really just starts with one person. We are not motivated to get things done, but we do want and need to. My app will have 8 short steps to making a personal connection to climate change or any other topic. My book will go in depth about these steps and how to create a personal connection.
My proposed solution is a puppet show and video animation. It's an entertaining way for younger people to learn about biodiversity, climate change, and how they can help through a medium they can understand. The information will be presented in a simplistic, digestible way, but impactful enough to help the audience understand the urgency of the topic. This applies to both the puppet show and animation. There will be lovable characters, easy to understand information, and entertaining visuals, all whilst educating the audience about specific topics like wolves and biodiversity.
How is it sustainable? The app will live in the App Store and will be used in future programming at Futures Lab. We plan to provide relevant and reputable information through a social media campaign housed on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, etc. The puppet show will become a station as part of the Futures Lab iLead program, where every spring Futures Lab students bring innovation stations to the local elementary schools.
Additionally, the puppet show script will become an animated series that can live on YouTube and can be easily accessed over time. The self-published interactive journal will be created and distributed throughout our school district at various events for teachers and students.
Our collaborators are the coding pathway for the app, the design build pathway for the puppet show stage, the Wolf Sanctuary, Colorado Wolf and Wildlife Center, Wolverine Press, iLead at Futures Lab, PSD Educators, CSU Center for Humane Carnivore Coexistence.
Oh, and don't forget Gardens on Spring Creek and Sierra Club. We took a tour of the gardens and they offered us their assistance if we ever needed it in the future. We could, for example, perform the puppet show there. They do group readings for younger kids, so it could definitely be an opportunity for us to educate our target audience. And now, some very scary, but very real facts. Within the next 2 decades, global temperatures are likely to rise 1.5 degrees Celsius.
If everyone in the world lived the way we do in the US, it would take 5 Earths to provide enough resources for everyone.
Since the late 1800s, the planet's average surface temperature has increased by roughly 1.62 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 0.9 degrees Celsius.
Deforestation is responsible for roughly 11% of worldwide greenhouse gas emissions.
Since pre-industrial times, the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has grown by more than 30%, trapping heat in the lower atmosphere.